Self-advocacy means that if I notice a problem and other people recognize the same problem, that we can all contribute our efforts. It means standing up for people as well as standing up for myself and solving the problem at hand. Self-advocacy is important because it helps you break through big barriers in life. So anytime you approach a situation in life, be it academically or an employment situation, self-advocacy is going to help you take down the barriers that are problematic. It's important to recognize that a lot of things that happen that cause barriers are fear-based. And you need to really work through the fear that's underlying the cause of the barrier in order for you to break through it and be able to accomplish what you want to as a person. For example, in high school when I was a student, I faced the barrier of being the only deaf person in my high school. And it was challenging to interact with my peers, but I had to remind myself that getting an education was most important to me. And ultimately getting what I want in life in general was important to me. And so advocacy and self-advocacy are very important, and you need to understand yourself and what it is you need. Self-advocacy really entails three things. First, you need to be your own mentor, which means that you need to know how to take care of yourself to make sure that everything is all right and going just as you need it to be without any problems. Secondly, you need to be able to analyze a situation, which means that you need to identify problems, figure out how you're going to approach those problems, and resolve them. You need to determine your own path and put yourself in a situation that is productive for your current state and your future. And third, and most important of all, is you need to empower yourself. You may recognize that your experiences through elementary, middle, and high school are an opportunity for you to observe your teachers and your principal and your parents to see how they model self-advocacy, so that upon graduation, you can think to yourself, which way am I going in life? Some people go from school to work. Other people decide to go to college. And there are a number of different paths for each person. So it's important to determine what it is you want to pursue in life so that you can become happy. To me, the definition of self-advocacy means to stand up for what you believe in and to practice those beliefs. If you don't really have the skills necessary to practice those beliefs, then you need to expand your skill set in order to be able to live what you believe. There are a variety of ways and tools that you can use to help with self-advocacy. You can ask a professor who might have the skills and knowledge necessary. They can give you some advice so that you can ultimately make the adjustments in your own skill set to resolve the problem that you're facing. The tools that I use for my own self-advocacy is support. Broadly speaking, there are many ways that you can get support. What I personally use is the intuition and following my heart. Because my heart knows what it is I want and what it is I need. And I need to recognize that my heart is going to be able to overcome any fear-based barriers that I might face in life. So what I've always done as I navigate through life and things that I've seen personally is I believe that my heart always knows what to do, and that's the best tool I have. The tools for self-advocacy are that everyone needs to advocate for themselves. But for people who have disabilities, like people who are deaf or use wheelchairs, they need to have more approaches for dealing with self-advocacy. For example, you may need to know how to request interpreting services, or captioning, or note-taking, because it's important to have full access to communication. And for people who use wheelchairs, it's important for them to be able to have accessible activities because many times things are not accessible. And so everyone needs to help each other. And there's nothing wrong with asking for help. In my personal experience, self-advocacy tools include research, analyzing yourself and knowing more about what you want and need, and talking to people about that, because talking to people helps you figure out what it is you want and need for yourself.